Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to the third session for the Entrepreneurial Book Publishing Project. That's a mouthful, I know. Last time we were at McGoffin County High School, had a great visit, covered a lot of points we'll be looking at here in a second for a review and for moving forward. Today we were scheduled to be at Johnson County Middle School, but the county had to close schools due to illnesses, viruses and all those things that's been going around in all of our schools this year. So we hope for the best for Johnson County Middle School. Hope that all the students stay healthy and the virus passes through. But we're going to push forward as scheduled. So today's session is be recorded here in my shop. Hopefully the sound will be okay and everything is alright, but we'll see how it goes. I want to start off by talking a little bit today about goals. Now, goals with business is hand in hand, and goals in a sense is the things that you hope to do in the future, right? Goals can be anything from, in a year from now I'd like to have a table runner for my display. Hopefully you have it a lot sooner than that, but that's one example. Other examples for businesses could be, in a year from now we like to be able to open up another store somewhere, or a year from now I'd like to have sold 100 copies of my book. Those are goals. Those things are what drive business and small business owners. And technically now you are a small business owner. Now the good thing about your business is you don't need a store to sell your goods in. Really all you need is the internet. But then again, on the side is that if you can have a great website, Amazon, and to sell your book, but if you don't promote it, no one knows about it. But you don't technically need a website to sell copies. There's other ways, and students watching this right now thinking, I couldn't build a website, or my school won't help me build a website. Well, don't worry. Today's session is going to be for you. We're going to be talking about how to sell your book as a small business. How do you get your book out there? And so we're going to be looking at that. Now, this ties into the first point that I'd like to make today, and that is opportunities in your area. Okay? Opportunities. It goes hand in hand with goals. So you may look at a region. Let's say, I'm going to sketch out for a second. This is Pike County. This is the county. What the county looks like. Okay? That's not exactly, but pretty close to what the county looks like. Now, Elkhorn City is located about right here, inside of Pike County. Okay? So when I start looking at opportunities in my area, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get online and I'm going to search for fairs, right? Okay, events. Okay, let's say bookstores. Sorry if my writing's so terrible. And libraries. Okay, so these are things that I'm going to look for. There's more than this, but there's some examples. So there's my area, right? I'm going to search for these things in a radius of, let's say, 25 to 50 miles from my area. I'm going to search for these things. So I might have some examples to pop up. Let's say Hillbilly Days. Hillbilly Days, it's in Pike County. It's inside of the Pikeville city limits there. That would qualify as a possible event I could attend. Apple Blossom Days, it's a little further down, but there's also Apple Days in Elkhorn City. So that's an opportunity there. Libraries, I know of a location right there in Elkhorn and in Pikeville, and there's a few more across the county. That would be an option to have a book signing there. Bookstores. Now, bookstores is a little tricky. I don't know a whole lot of bookstores. So I'd want to look for maybe opportunities a little closer to me. Pikeville does have a bookstore. It's called Book Notes. So that's an example. Now, one thing you want to be careful for, though, let's say you start looking for opportunities and places to sell your book, and you started to do a little research. Now this takes research. Small business doesn't. You don't have things handed to you in this with small businesses. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an uphill struggle most of the time. You're at an advantage right now. You're not only are you receiving copies of your books for free, you're receiving a venue to sell them at the Expo Center at the Fire Summit for free. Sometimes these things cost money to set up a table. You're also receiving information through these videos and my experience as a small business owner and things that's helped me. So all these things are being provided for you for nothing. That's really untypical with small business. So if you're participating in this program, and let's say you really like the process and you want to become an author and illustrator and, well, you really want to sell your books, then please take heed to everything that I'm talking about. One such thing is this, okay? When you start to look for opportunities to sell your book, you're going to find that sometimes there's not a lot of bookstores, or let's say there's not a lot of book-related type events happening, okay, around your area. Most of the time, you don't want to cross over into another area of business, such as clothing or electronics, but it may come up that maybe a clothing store in your town, you may know the owner, or someone that works there, and you may say, hey, I'd like to sell some books at your store. That's fine. If you could get a foot in the door at a business that will keep books for you displayed to sell to the public, that's awesome. If you can talk to someone that you know, or a store owner that would allow you to come in to conduct a book signing, that's a one-day event for a couple hours, that's great too. All of these are things you're going to have to think of. Also, for every single one of you, this experience is going to be something different. For one, they may take full advantage of all these things happening. They may do research, find locations to sell their book. They may go as far as to create a small free website that you could create from the WebStarts or different GoDaddy, different places that offer free websites, creation builder platforms. All these things, some students are going to take advantage of these things, and they're really going to push. They're going to create a logo. They're going to have a business, cool business name. They're going to have products on their table. They're going to have displays and posters and bookmarks and a little candy dish with little wrapped candies, everything, okay? And then some aren't. I understand that. But for those who are really paying attention and really want this and really want to move forward with this, please understand that any way that you can, you need to get your book out there, okay? No matter if it's in a clothing store, an electronics store, in a food mart, whatever it is, you need to get your book out there. So you're going to have to do the legwork though. And you're going to have to do research on these things. You're going to have to find out what does it take to table at an event. For instance, let's say, and let's pretend that we all want to go to Hillbilly Days. Okay? And we want to get a booth there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Hillbilly Days is expensive to have a booth. It's terribly expensive. And I know a lot of us, the majority of us, myself included, we don't have $500 laying around for a table. It's not going to happen. But here's the thing. Most communities are very supportive of student projects, student-created initiatives, things that are related to education. This qualifies. You being a student, this being related to education, and on top of that, small business, learning how to do that. You may be able to approach someone and say, is there any way we could get a table for this student? And your school may even request one. Apple Blossom Days is a good example. Whatever. Your community has to support you. If a community isn't supportive of you, then they're under par and they're not doing the right thing, in my opinion, period. So you have to have the support from your community. 9 times out of 10, you'll find it. But there are cases where you won't. So be sure and approach this in the sense that try to get help from your community. Now let's say we're going to have Hillbilly Days. The first thing that I'd want to do is get online and check and see what is the application process. There's a process for that. You're going to have help. Those of you in elementary school, middle school, you're going to have help. Your parents' involvement in this is really instrumental. And if you don't have a lot of support, then you're not going to be able to do certain things you would like to do with your book. But try to reach out to these places and find out, what do I need to do in order to have a table there. It's very, very important. Okay, let's move on. Now the next thing I want to talk about involves something that we've touched on a little bit during the last session. And I think it's really important for us to have skills in communication. This is a part of business that's not thought of very much, but it's very important. When a person comes up to your table, they're your customer. They're the public. They don't know you. You don't know them. But you're there presenting something. So instead of meeting someone on the street, the awkwardness of being like, oh, hello, hello, and introducing yourself, in this situation, in this setting, you are required as the business owner, okay, to provide information to the public who's coming up to your table about your work. Tell them about your book, who you are, where you're from, your age, your grade, things like that. Introduce yourself. Proper communication skills is so important. Look someone in the eye when you're talking to them. If they reach out their hand to shake your hand, shake their hand. Talk to them in the sense that you're being representing your book well. Okay? When a person comes up to your table and you have a terrible look on your face, let's say you're in a terrible mood, it's going to reflect and it will hurt your sales. I have to do this sometimes where I go to a book signing and I don't feel good. Really, it means there's days where you just don't feel good. But you have to push on, you being a small business owner, okay? The public is going to be watching this and they're going to notice these things, okay? Let's talk a second too about money management. I think that's a huge, huge aspect of a small business. Money management, okay? Now, with money management, what we're talking about is how well you can manage your money. All right, money management, obviously. But let's break it down a little bit more. You have to understand that when you sell a book, what you're getting from that is your profit and also the money that you have a cost associated with you building or creating the product, right? We talked about this last time about a book costing $2 to print, right? $2 to print. Okay. We sell that for $8. So our profit would be $6. With that $6, you take that and you put that back into your business. So you purchase more books. So for one copy of your book, okay, this is technically speaking, if it's $2 to print and you sell it for $8, right? You're able to print 3 more copies of your books. Actually 4, but 3 with money you didn't have before, right? So you'll have $2 that you originally put into the book, plus the $6 profit will give you 3 extra copies on top of the one you're purchasing with the money that you put into it originally. This is profit. This is something you're going to have to manage. You want to be able to know, I started with X amount and I'm ending with X amount, and this is my profit. You have to take that money then, okay? If you have a checking account, that's wonderful. Small businesses set up checking, but if not, it's okay. But you being a student in middle school or elementary school and high school even, but if you can get a checking account, that's wonderful. If you can open up a business checking, that's even better. But you want to be aware of this and manage your profit, okay? Managing your profit too is understanding there's cost associated with running your business. There's cost associated with running your business that you don't foresee sometimes, such as if you were to print flyers or let's say bookmarks, okay, or a table runner, and something else. Let's say you're going to an event cost, so there's an event. Let's say there's a book fair, and you call and you say, I'd like to participate in signing copies of my book, and they say, wonderful, it costs $40 to do it. So that may be a cost. So all these are costs that could be associated with your business. That have to come out of your profit and your your whole checking. So what you have in your sum amount that you have for your business, okay, that's your profit and the money you have associated with these first books you sell. Things are going to come up where you have to actually go and spend money in order to make money. Okay, that's how businesses work. Typically, we don't start out with money already in our pockets. Sometimes an individual may put money into their account to help start their business, but typically you don't start with a large sum of money, and you certainly don't start with free products. So that means, like, we're providing books for you right now for your first signing. Usually you don't start that way. There's a great website that I want to put on here that I want you to go to, and it's www. If you're interested in learning about how you can become better with your money, this is a great resource here. Okay, it's bschool.com. Now here comes the extension part. I have to put this on here though, because I tried to find it from the home page and it was impossible. This is a dash right here, okay? But if you write this down and you visit this website, there's exercises on there for students, okay, to play around with different scenarios, different types of things like that. And there's another dash there, and then business. I know this is a terribly long web address, but it is amazing resources. There we go. So if you write all that down and visit that website, you will not be disappointed. Also, there's a website there's apps. So with your smartphone, try looking at these apps. There's one called, these are fun, these are games, okay? And they're not the boring educational games that are out there sometimes. So one is called Street Food Tycoon. One is called Football Chairman, or Chairwoman, it should I guess be, but that's what it's called. We'll go with what it's called. And then Sushi Monster. Okay? Look at these apps if you're interested in learning more about money management. Before we end today, though, I want to touch on a press release again. Okay? It'd be really smart of you to go ahead and Google a press release. Anytime that you conduct an event, have a book signing, or going to be at a certain location to sell your books, you would want to send this to the newspaper, radio, or TV. Your local newspaper, so I'll use mine as an example, the Appalachian News Express. Here's how I would do it. First thing I would do, number one, okay, you need to Google or search for the, I'll put A&E as the acronym for Appalachian News Express. Search for their editor's name, okay? Once you have the editor's name, usually there's a contact link there where you can send an email, okay? So once you have this information, you want to then prepare your press release. Prepare press release. Here's the parts of a press release, okay? And then the third, of course, is to send it, right? Simple. Here's the parts of a press release, though, and we'll go over these parts together right now, kind of quickly. I hope you've written this down so far. I need my space here, so I'm going to use this up, okay? So, the first is the headline. You write this down and remember what these are as we go over them. A headline is Epling signs books at Pottville Library. That's your headline. It's a short, brief sentence telling exactly what you're talking about. Your second is going to be your date, when it happens, and a paragraph. Okay, you tell the date, so to be, let's say, I'm just guessing, I don't even know if this is a date this falls on, but we'll say Wednesday, April 5th at 1 p.m. And then below that, you want to talk about what's happening, so a short, brief introduction to it. So the who, what, when, where, and why. Talk about, Epling will be signing copies of his books at 1 p.m. at the Powell Library, period. Books include, and then maybe have a list. In your sense, there will be one book. Keep it at 25 words or less. Okay. Now the third portion of this is the summary. Now what this is the area where you're able to actually put in your bio and a summary about your book. Okay, you can include a picture if you want of your book. Okay, that's fine. You may put a pic of the cover or a pic of yourself. So the who, what, when, where, and why, the headline, the dates included here, then the summary, you can include a bio, a summary of your book, picture of your book, a picture of yourself, and then the last portion here is contact information. Okay, so it's a phone number or an email for you. These are the parts of a press release. So to sum up today's talking, we talked about opportunities, finding opportunities for you to do book signings. This is up to you to do this. Okay, moving forward. After you find a location, contact them, find out how you go about signing. If you know a store or a business that will carry your book, reach out to them immediately. Ask them if they will. We talked about after you, let's say, find an event and you sign up for it and you're going to it, you want to do a press release on that. Okay, with this information sent to your local media, newspaper, TV, radio. Okay. Find the contact people you need to send it to. Sometimes you have to make phone calls. Sometimes you have to get online and find this information. You're responsible for doing this if you want your business to grow. We also talked about money management. I have some resources up here that you could go to, including apps. Now take all this information and be working on it. Look for events. Go ahead and be searching for that. If you haven't created your business logo and decided on a name, you're behind. You need to start creating that table material. We talked about this the first session and the second as well. Create stuff to put on your table, okay? If you have any questions, you can email me. I'll try my best to answer them, okay? But I hope you're not overwhelmed. This is a lot to go over. But if you follow step by step each week, you'll be fine. So now, moving into what next week, I want you to be looking for events around your area. Search for festivals, fairs, bookstores, locations that will carry your book, examples like that. Okay? Alright, thank you so much for participating. I'm so proud of each one of you. I can't wait to see your table displays and your books, and I just looking forward to it, and I'm so thankful. Thank KVEC for sponsoring this. Without them, this would not be possible. Okay? So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.